Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Wind Down Wednesday. We're so excited to be with you. Today is Wednesday, October 11th. I'm totally checking on my screen right here. Grab what you need to get comfortable and cozy on this fall Wednesday evening, and we'll see you back here in about 30 seconds. All right, everybody. I am so excited for tonight's episode. I have been waiting for this for months, like literally months. But before we hop into that, I have two quick announcements for everybody. And the first is that, oh my goodness, so our friends at ITB, so that's the Illinois Tussle group, they have their fall virtual workshop this Saturday. And y'all, it looks phenomenal. Like, we've got such a good lineup of folks. I'm really pumped. I will be doing one session during the conference, and so I'm going to drop that into the chat. So if you are joining us tonight on Facebook, you will see the link so that you can get registered, invite a teammate. You could be in your jammies all day. Like, that's great. That's perfect. Grab your like pumpkin spice latte and get your learn on over the weekend. And then, kind of on a similar note, we are super excited because IRC is going to be at the Illinois Principal Association conference next week. So IRC is going to have a booth there. So make sure you say hello. My colleague Lindsay will be there. And so it'll just be so much fun. I will be there on Monday, and I'll be presenting a session on supporting newcomers. So very excited about that. So make sure you find us and say hello. We're super pumped about that. But let's get into this because I'm so excited. So joining me today is my good friend and my passion, like lover of science and all things wonderful. This is Holly Stuart, y'all. Holly, I'm so excited.
I know. And so just so people know, like, honestly, Carly is not kidding. This has been in the making for so long, trying to get the two of us together here tonight. So I'm so excited. We finally found a date and it's all good. So here we are.
Yes. Oh, this is so fantastic. So Holly and I met each other, I don't know, like years ago, or like virtually we met each other years ago. And I've like just been a fangirl of Holly for a really long time. And then I got to hear her speak in person, and I'm like, oh, like she is incredible. You guys, like, Holly's the coolest person you will ever meet. Like, so Holly, you just speak in such a way that like you just bring people in. Your voice is like a hug.
Oh,
like,
thank you.
Truly, like, I just want to be in your presence like all the time. So for folks who don't know you yet, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so again, I'm Holly Stewart, and my current position, I am the education specialist at Foldscope Instruments. But before that, I was an middle school science teacher. So I taught eighth grade science, and I taught that I think I was in that classroom for about 6 years. And before that, I was in an elementary school where I was a part of the related arts rotation. So I was the science teacher that all of the elementary schools would come and see once a week. And we would do, like a really cool, science experience and demonstration. And it was always, the kids knew when they came to my classroom, it was going to be some sort of hands-on fun, usually messy thing that they were going to get to do. And the thing that was really interesting about it, that experience, which would really relate to, your audience here tonight, is it was an immersion elementary school. So even though, I met with every single student K through 5 that was in that school, but when they came into my classroom, all they heard from me was Spanish. And so, and it was great because, I had, our school district, we have a very high population of Spanish speakers. So I had students that would come in who could understand me perfectly, and they would be able to just, hit the ground running and be able to do everything. And then I had the other students who came in and, they had to, kind of pay extra attention because obviously I'm using my hand motions and it's very, lots of pictures and everything, all the stuff that you're used to, using and resources that you have. And it didn't matter at the end of the day, it didn't matter that those students maybe not necessarily spoke, Spanish with me.
Yes.
They understood what we were doing and they knew that it was going to be a fun learning experience. So the language barrier was not a barrier for
Yes.
me in that classroom.
Oh.
And it was great because a lot of the students in that elementary school, it was a feeder school to the middle school where I ended up going to. So I had a lot of those same students who then came to me in 8th grade. And it was hilarious, Carly, because they had no idea that I spoke English. They walked into my classroom and, in their minds, they're going, oh my gosh, this is 8th grade science and this woman doesn't speak English.
Like, what are we going to do?
Yeah, it was great. I had one student who he was so sweet at the end of the, like the first day, he was like, Mrs. Stewart, when did you learn to speak English? It was great.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Oh, they're so proud of you too. They're like, you did a great job.
I really practiced a lot during those 3 years until you got back into my classroom again.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, and I love that you're talking about like the hands-on and just getting dirty and getting messy with science. Like it did, it eliminated, right, the need, right, the worry or anxiety,
right.
that we don't need to be able to speak all the same language for everything. It the experience and the learning that takes place kind of transcends all of that.
Exactly. Yeah. When you get to use your hands, then that, that kind of opens up a whole new pathway to the language being able to get through. And, the content is really what's important. So yeah.
That's absolutely huge. I was in a few school districts this past week, and a lot of us were talking about newcomer support. And I remember going through my undergrad program, feels like a long time ago, but in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that long ago. And they told us, when you were planning for lessons or units, even, they said, end your unit with a bang, right? End your unit with a great activity, end your unit with a culminating experience. But when we're talking about access and equity for students of different language backgrounds or different SES backgrounds, we need to start the unit or start the lesson with the experience, because then it gives everyone, right, that community building, that shared experience, to start pulling some language, to hold on to some content learning and hold on to some language too. So I love that you're passionate about doing this type of work. So tell us about your current role. So what do you do in your current role?
So again, I'm the education specialist. So I am, even though I have left the classroom, I'm still able to work with teachers and, creating resources for teachers to be able to use, specifically with our product, which is the Foldscope, which we'll talk about that a little bit later. But, just helping to, and again, it's all about that whole intimidation factor that a lot of people have with science, unfortunately, and just trying to show the fun side of it, and that it doesn't have to be, we're going to memorize all of these really long words and, and not have any context for why we're memorizing these words, but just to be able to just go out and, find something really cool to look at under a microscope and just appreciate it for what it is and for the beauty of those objects and those specimens that you're looking at, and just to be able to, just have fun with the science. So I'm, creating resources for teachers to be able to use, but also just for the general public, because, science doesn't have to only happen in a classroom. It is something that is all around us. It is, how does our world work?
Yeah.
And that's what science is. And so I'm trying to help people to, just see that it can come outside of the classroom, and it can just be something that's fun for you to do. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's fun for everybody, right? Like we
Yes.
live, we live in this world full of like all these amazing things, but like,
Hmm.
we're in the hustle and bustle of everything. But if we slow down a little bit, like, holy cow, there's like
Yeah.
all these incredible things happening.
Mhm.
So you mentioned there are some great resources, and I want to point out your blog because it's
Yeah.
incredible. Tell us
Oh,
a
thank
little bit.
you.
Tell us a little bit about your blog and like how you kind of come to like get some stuff captured and what you're passionate about sharing.
Yeah, so I write two blogs for Foldscope. One of them is called Foldscope Explores, and that one is pretty much, what do I have around me that I want to look at underneath the microscope? And I will take, things that, you would typically expect to put under a microscope, but then I also choose just random things. Like there was one time I was sitting at the pool and I had my cover up on. I was like, I wonder what that looks like underneath the Foldscope. And so you don't have to, the Foldscopes are great because you don't have to, cut things and prepare, a slide in a very technical way. I
Yeah.
just clamped it right on my dress and was able to look at it under the microscope. And I wrote a blog about it. I've done, oh my gosh, so many different things. We had so much rain, like in the past month. Like September was just
Wow.
so rainy here, and I just felt like I had my umbrella out all the time, and I was like, wonder what my umbrella looks like under the Foldscope. So doing things like that, flower petals, leaves, all kinds of just really fun stuff that it gives you, even though it might be an ordinary object, it gives you a different perspective and way to think about it and see it.
Yeah.
So that's the Foldscope Explorers. So again, that's just random things looking under a microscope and just seeing how cool they are. And then the second blog that I write is called Foldscope in the Classroom. And that one is a little bit more specific to teachers. And it is, again, just choosing a topic, and it's supported by, I make sure that all of my lessons that I create that they support the next generation science standards. So it is basically choosing a topic and coming up with a lesson plan. I give, all the materials that you would need and everything. And obviously they do center around using a Foldscope with these lessons. And the thing that really, I think, makes it special and makes it something that's a little more than just a scripted science lesson is that I also, at the very end, I include information about a real world scientist
Mm.
who relates to that topic and an artist who relates to that
Oh,
topic. Because science is, the whole thing with STEM and STEAM, I'm all about STEAM. I love that A in there for the art,
yeah.
because I think it's a very important part of science that is, sometimes it gets forgotten.
Yes.
So I always make sure that I have an artist who's in there that, in some way their work relates to that topic. And then I give ideas for interdisciplinary lessons. So
Mm.
I tell the science teacher how to work with, an idea for working with social studies, ELA, math, and also a related arts content area also. So it just gives you tons of ideas,
Yeah.
and hopefully that they can be used as, those jumping off points
Mhm.
for, being able to come up with some really cool stuff, because obviously my background is science. And, there might be an ELA teacher who says, this is great, but we could also do this. And I
Yeah.
would love for people to, read the blog, use these resources, and then reach out to me and let me know, if you're trying it, if you've made some sort of, put your own special spin on it or something like that to, make it work for you and your students. I'd love to be able to hear about all that.
Wow.
But yeah, those are the two blogs that I write for Foldscope, and they are free. And I appreciate that you put the links there in the chat. They are free for you to be able to, anybody can access. You don't have to be, a paid member of Foldscope or anything like that. There's no such thing. So go to the website, find the blogs, read them, enjoy, and yeah, let me know if, how they work out for you and your students.
Yes. Well, and I love that you said that. Like they are very much like they're such a cool, like, you bring forward a cool idea or a cool like image even of something that you've like an image that you've taken from your Foldscope, and then you're just like, you give us such good nuggets again, like that we can
Mhm.
kind of take and run with it, right?
Yes.
And it might spark like a new, piece of inspiration for us to do with our students. But
Mhm.
I want to talk about the Foldscope, like the actual
No.
tool, because I am such a fangirl of this product, like this
Mhm.
idea, that I bought.
I love
I
it. I
got
love it.
I got the original, and then I went ahead and got the whole 2.0. So tell us a little bit about this, because if teachers who are watching this, if you've never heard of this, get ready to have your mind blown. This is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, so the Foldscope, the original Foldscope, it is the blue one. It is a microscope. It truly is a high quality, real microscope. It magnifies images up to 140 times. It lets you go down to a resolution of zero point 0.2 nanometers. So you can like really, really tiny things. You can see single cell bacteria with this. So it is an actual science tool, but it's made out of paper. It is flexible. It's waterproof paper. And because it's made of paper, if you even accidentally rip it, and it's very sturdy, like it's chances are, I mean, you have to work at it to rip it. But if you do, you just tape it back together. It's okay. So it's one of those things where it really helps to take away that intimidation factor of using a very expensive microscope. Because this is, all told, all the parts and pieces and everything, it is $1.75. So you can get a classroom set of the original Foldscopes, and you get them unassembled. So you actually get to fold it and put together. And so your students could say, I made my own microscope. You can get a classroom set of these for $35, and it's 20 microscopes. So you could, every student in your classroom, and I know that our class sizes are probably larger than 20, but you've got 20 microscopes to be able to use in a single classroom. So, and it's just, and I think that this should be something that is as common as, you buy packs of pens and pencils at the beginning of the school year to be able to give to your students. Your students should have this in their pocket and be able to take it wherever they go. They should be able to take it home, look at things that are around their house, look at things that are outside. It should be just a common piece of equipment that every student has in your school.
Yes.
But so yes, so this is our original. This is the one that Carly and I really bonded over last year.
Totally forgot.
And then we did, and these were all in development before I joined the company, but there is now the 2.0. So we have, it's a much more streamlined assembly process. And some of the parts are a little bit different. Like the focus ramp is a little sturdier, and it's, because we did hear feedback from people that, they had trouble focusing, but it's a little bit sturdier now. But the key thing with this is, I said that the original Foldscope has 140 times magnification. There's that one lens. With the 2.0, you have 3 different levels of magnification. And again, these are all, it's paper and magnets is how they're held together. So you can actually take off the lens and you can replace it with different lenses of different magnifications. So that magnet on the front there, you can just pop that off, and you've got 50x, which is good for looking at things like if you have an insect and you want to actually see the whole, like more of the insect, it lets you have a wider view. So there's the 50x, there's the 140x, which is what we had in the original. And then the one that I've also been having a lot of fun with is the 340x, which is, it lets you get right up in there and be able to see, a lot of really cool stuff when you put that on there. So again, those magnets just pop right on. Yep. And so you got it. And that's how you change whatever level of magnification that you want. And then the other cool thing about it too is that has because they are magnets, you can actually, there's attachments that you can use that you can, and I have the other one in here, but there's these, what we call couplers that you can use. And I've already put mine on my phone, but it lets you hook your phone right to your Foldscope so that you can actually see. And I got, oops, I need to put a light on here so that you can see it. So you can actually see what is in the slide and you can share it with people. Let me get the light on it. And hopefully, it's sometimes hard to tell on the camera there. You might not be able to see if you can zoom in, but oh, where's my camera?
Yes.
So you can see the cells that are in there. Sorry, it's not my light that's behind the
Yes, but we see it. We see it.
Yeah, yeah. So imagine if you have something that's, swimming around, you can actually record video of, the critters that you find in your pond water samples and things like that. If you get an insect, you can put it in there. You can actually watch them crawling around, watch the internal organs of different microbes and things like that. Is really cool. It's a lot of fun.
That's
So yeah,
mind-blowing. And y'all, can we just reiterate, this is paper.
It is all paper. Yeah, you just folding, and that's, yeah. And the other thing that is also new too is, and when you think about, for a lot of times it's hard, you get a little bit scared with the slides that they're usually made out of glass.
Yeah.
So if you look in here now, these are trading cards is what we're calling them. And it's your slide. And again, it is made out of paper. So you can put your sample right there in that circle in the center. Yep, exactly. That one actually has stuff in there so that you can actually play around with it and make sure that you're in focus and all that. But yeah, you can use these now as your slide. So you can imagine for younger fingers that a glass slide might be a little too tricky.
Yeah.
This is something that would makes it a little bit easier for them. And it goes just right in the back, just where the other slides would go.
Okay. Yep.
So there's that little pocket. So the pocket's bigger so that you can put the trading card in there.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
And I think it's cute because it looks like a koala. I don't know, when you put it in there, that's the way.
Yes!
Little koala face.
I can totally see that. That's awesome. And then I just look.
And then our other one that I just want to mention real quick, because we talked about, for younger hands, we do have another product that just got released too. It's called the Mini, the Foldscope Mini. Okay. And again, so if you look at the sizes of the boxes, the Mini is smaller.
Yeah.
And it is super, super simplified version of the Foldscope. So again, it is paper. There's no other attachments. There's no magnets or anything like that. It is, when you get it, it looks like this. The assembly process, fold it. You've got your microscope ready to go.
Gosh, holy cow.
Yeah. And it's perfect for little hands. I was kind of field testing it with some kids who live in my neighborhood, and they ranged in age from 5 to 11. And it took me just not even a minute to teach them how to use it. And then I was just like, and go. Yeah. And it's great because you don't have to use slides. You can just, this little pocket, you can just put a sample right in there, like a leaf or a flower petal. So you don't even have to have slides. And they had a ball for an hour and a half.
I bet. It's like, what does this look like? Well, let's try this, right?
Oh, yeah, it was funny because the mom who was there she was like, okay, guys, seriously, we need to go for lunch. It's time to go. And they were like, but wait.
Can you imagine? I feel like so many teachers are just chomping at the bit to try to find some way to hook or engage their kids. And they won't stop doing science. Stop doing science, you guys.
Right.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, and again, all of the, you can go to the website, foldscope.com, and our store is there and all the information. There's tutorials, videos, and everything like that to be able to help you if you get stuck with anything. And of course, you can always reach out to any of us at Foldscope. And my email is holly@foldscope.com. So it's very simple to remember, but yeah.
But I'm obsessed with this because, like,
Mhm.
again, there were so many times, like when I was a bilingual classroom teacher, and this will break your heart, and I'm sure like you have similar stories too. But I remember, like, I had attended a training somewhere, and they said, like, ask your students to draw a scientist and like watch what they do. And so I did. I was like, all right, I'm going to try it,
Mhm.
and all of my students were heritage Spanish speakers from a few different countries. And I asked them to draw scientists, and they all 100% of the kids in my class, they drew old white men. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, like it was just like it hits you like so hard on
Mhm.
the gut. And you're like, oh my gosh, like that is their perception of what a scientist is. And then
Yeah.
we did this whole thing like, no, we are scientists like every single day. Like we are mathematicians, we are writers,
Mhm.
we are, like we do all these things, but we are scientists too. And then
Yeah.
so like after weeks and weeks and weeks of like really drilling this, then I asked them to draw a, like a scientist, and then they all
Mhm.
drew themselves. All of them drew themselves, and I was like,
Oh, that makes me so
this,
happy.
this is what we want. But I
I
was like,
love
gosh,
that.
if I would have had this to just like again, it's made out of paper. I wouldn't have to
Mhm.
worry about like replacing an expensive machine if it breaks or if someone like bumps into it or like
Mhm.
it's so like it's a very affordable thing, and like it's just very accessible, and it's
Yes.
like a tool that they can hold in their hands. They don't have to share it with nobody. Like this is
Mhm.
for them in their own eyes. Like this is just like such a game changer. Like it is a
It
game
is.
changer for any kid, but especially for our kids who we want to empower to like go
Right.
into like study STEM and STEAM and explore those things, and like you have a space in STEAM. Like this
Yes,
is for you
yes.
too.
Mhm.
Oh,
I 100%, yes.
oh. And then I'm thinking too, like, because we always talk about like oral language and getting kids
Mhm.
talking and also like getting kids expressing their learning, right? Through speaking, through representing, through writing. And so,
Mhm.
like, gosh, like this could be such a cool, like, shared experience for students. And maybe again, they all have their own thing, but then they're looking at different samples, they're looking at
Mhm.
different objects that they find, and then they get to talk with each other about it and they get to
Yeah.
write about it and they're describing things. And if they are using a device to catch a recording or a video, like
Mhm.
there's so many. We could do a picture word inductive model with the images that we grab, and like
Yeah.
gosh, there's just so many extensions.
And it's true, and like you were saying, even though everybody has their own can have their own, the sharing that you naturally see when you find something, you're like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool," and you can hand it off to someone and they can show you theirs, and it happens just naturally, whether I'm working with adults or kids,
Yes.
you want to share and talk about what you saw, and like you said, that vocabulary that can come out of that,
Yes.
regardless of the language that you're
Yes.
using,
Yep.
that's huge. And you're talking about science concepts, and you're in an excited way, I
Yes.
love it. I love it.
Oh, it's so good. And then I'm also going to link because I was poking around on the Foldscope's website,
Mhm.
being the fangirl that I am, and we'll point out all of the translations because there's a whole
Yes.
lot of translations on the. I was like, oh,
Yes,
like
yes,
I'll think of everything.
we're working on, getting more of the translations for the newer, products as well too. So,
Ah,
yeah, we definitely are trying to keep up with that. So, yeah.
that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, Holly, I'm so pumped. I hope people go and they check out your blog.
Yes,
I hope they
yes,
go
reach
and
out.
like this would be a great thing. Like I know a lot of us get different local grants start opening up
Mhm.
in
Yes.
our school districts. Like this would be like a very affordable grant to write. And
Mhm.
again, like it gets your students to see themselves as scientists. And like I know we at the IRC we're very passionate about getting multilingual student presence in
Yes,
STEM, like just across the board. So like this would be just a beautiful, beautiful opportunity. And again, super
absolutely.
affordable. It comes with everything you need. You don't have to like go out and buy extra stuff. Like everything is there.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
and that's the thing too, is you don't have to use it with technology. It is made to be it truly is a standalone
yeah,
device. You can just use natural lighting when you're standing outside.
yes,
So it is something that you don't have to feel like you need to be, plugged into anything. You can
Yeah.
literally just go wherever you want to be as long as you have a light source.
Yeah.
You can do microscopy. Yeah.
It's crazy. That's crazy. And I would also say that the final thing I want to mention about this is, like, I know a lot of us do different family engagement nights where we try to bring families in, and like, sometimes it's like a literacy night, sometimes it's a math night, sometimes it's loteria, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But like, this would be so cool to, like, have some time with students to, like, explore these and get really familiar with it, and then have them like show their family members how to use this, like bring them into the school, go around the school and like explore with it, and get your family members excited, to be scientists too. Like, all of us we are scientists.
We are. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
All right. So Holly, I'm so excited. I hope people are like just as jazzed about this as I am. Like, I can't even tell y'all. I can't even explain. Like, it was like such a magical moment for me to be able to do this, like, and hold it in my hand and see it with my own eyes. Like, I was like, I'm done. Like, this is the coolest thing. So I hope people can get their hands on these and try them out. And they're so affordable. But Holly, like, in general, like, we're kind of closing out because it's already 7:30
I know.
here. But the time went so fast because I know, like, you're excited about this stuff and you're passionate about it, and it just like, I take all of it and I'm like,
exactly.
So what would you say? Because I will tell you, I have said to myself, I've said it out loud, I have said to students, I've said to my own kids, like, oh, I'm not a math person, or I'm not a creative person, or I'm not a science person. And sometimes that stems from like my own self-consciousness of my skills, like in math or in science, or like my comfort level. Like, I will tell you, like, I there have been many times where I have been intimidated by science. So what would you say to any teacher who kind of experiences that intimidation?
Well, I would say, first of all, it's okay. And, I understand it, but I would say you really just relax and just enjoy the process. Science really is a fun thing. It is all around us. I mean, science is not just something that happens in a classroom or in a textbook. Science is everywhere around us. And so just take time to appreciate what you see and just ask questions. Just the act of asking questions is being a scientist. And that is what we do all the time. And we all know our students do it all the time too. So just by doing that, you're being a scientist. And then just learning, I mean, it's all scientists. The one thing about science that I think people, maybe don't always understand is there's not an end point. You're asking questions, you learn something, and then you're like, okay, now what? And there's always that continuation. So just knowing that there is no end point, that we're always asking questions, that might take away some of the intimidation as well.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. I love that so much, because we always say, like, language has no ceiling, but science also, it has no ceiling. It just keeps on going.
Exactly.
I love that so much. Oh, well, Holly, it has been an absolute dream come true, like, truly, because we've been talking about this for months. So I am so excited that we got to do this and hang out tonight and share all of this, like, love and passion for science with everyone who's either watching us live tonight or catching the replay later. But Holly, thank you so much. I'm so
Thank you for having me. Yeah, this was great. This was great. And again, I really hope that people do, reach out to me, and, any questions that you have or anything like that. I really want to be able to help more people feel comfortable with being scientists.
Thank you. So Holly, if you can say your email address one more time, it's
holly@foldscope.com.
Foldscope.com. All right. I'm going to leave it there in the
Perfect.
comments. So that'll be on our Facebook page. And so everyone, thank you so much for watching, and we hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.